How are you at being prepared? Comes naturally to some people, and for other people, it's an awful struggle. For some of us, we sort of freewheel through life and realize too late that we've missed appointments. For other of us, if we're not half an hour early, we're late, right? And there's a range in between. Well, tonight we're going to talk about living a prepared life. I'm Sharon Gamble. I'm the founder and director of Sweet Selah Ministries, and every Tuesday night we talk. Welcome to Tuesday Talk. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate it if you'd write something in the comments. It helps our video get seen. And also, it's awful nice to know you're listening. So please do us that favor. Thank you. We're doing a series in September called Life Lessons from the Book of Proverbs. And tonight we're going to read a little proverb, a couple of them actually, about living a prepared life. The first one that I'm going to read is Proverbs 6, 6 through 11. And it's probably one of the most famous. I'm reading it in the New Living Translation, but in my head, I hear the King James, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard." But let me read it in the New Living Translation so we get the picture a little better. Here we go. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer, no ruler, yet it stores its provisions in the summer and gathers its food at harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief and scarcity like an armed man. Okay. Solomon is pretty clear here that although sleep is a good thing, and he also said early to bed and early to rise is a good idea. I know Benjamin Franklin turned it into a little poem, but Solomon did say it is wise to go to bed early. But we can't sleep all day. We have to plan our lives, or we are going to be in trouble. A, a wise person lives a planned, a prepared life. I did not prepare well for grocery shopping this week. I had a busy week last week. I kind of started to run out of food, and every day that I wanted to grocery shop, it seemed like everything else got in the way. The last couple of nights, I have patched together the weirdest meals from strange leftovers. Uh, and I finally this morning went and shopped so that the cupboards are packed again. Thank God I live in a country where I can just go out and do that. In some places, I'd have to prepare way in advance in the summer, or literally in the middle of winter, I'd have no food to eat. But we are to live a prepared life. Solomon is right. If we just spoil ourselves and just are lazy, we are not going to live out the life that God has for us. Now, what I like to say, because this is Sweet Seal after all, and I'm all about rest, is you plan your rests too, but they're planned rests around the work. Or you rest and then from that you work. It's not just putting things off. There's a time to work and there's a time to be still. And the still times feel so good because you've done that work and then you stop. And that's really what God told us to do with the 6 days of work and then the 1 day of rest. Anyways, so I have my planner here. Do you keep a planner? What kind of planner do you keep? I am sort of a middle of the road kind of planner person. I just do by the month. I don't um I don't do like a weekly or a daily in terms of detailed, like at 7 a.m. I'm doing this, and at 8 a.m. I'm doing this, and at 9:15 a.m. I better be on the ball and doing that. But I plan by the month, and then from that, I write a to-do list for the week and then check things off the to-do list as I go. But if I didn't have things written down, important things wouldn't get done. A new thing that I'm doing this year is I'm having something called a neighbor night. I'm having the ladies in my neighborhood over once a month. They can bring a game. They can bring fingernail polish. They can bring a craft. I'm crocheting an Afghan right now, so I'm going to bring my Afghan to my own living room. I'm going to start with a sort of a conversation starter and just enjoy getting to know my neighbors. I've wanted to do that forever. COVID kind of got in the way, but busyness can get in the way. But if I don't know my own neighbors, how am I a light in my community? How am I friendship evangelizing? How am I sharing who I am with them? And how am I getting to know who they are? So it had to be planned. It's second Wednesdays of every month. And now that it's planned, it's happening. I do the same with my grandmas in prayer group. I do the same with our home group that my husband and I run. We do it with our Sela prayer retreat calls and our Sela prayer calls. Things are planned so that the important things happen. Wednesday mornings are set aside for my parents because guess what? They're not getting any younger. And it would be really easy because they're so nice, they wouldn't demand it, for me to just skip them week after week after week because life took over. But if I plan it and I know Wednesday mornings are theirs, then I don't put anything else in that time slot. We need to plan. We need to plan a time to work and to work hard. We need to prepare for the things that are important. We need to grocery shop and keep the house clean and save money and do all the things that bring wisdom to a life. And that means thinking it through. That means some kind of a plan, whether you do a simple one like mine or a more complex one. I'm sure you have one of some kind. But according to Proverbs, and these are our life lessons, living a prepared life is wise. Let me read you another one. Proverbs 21:5. Good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. Sometimes we want to cheat. We don't want to do the job. We just kind of skirt around it. We can't be doing that. We need to work hard and do what needs to be done, right? Even though it's hard. For me, that's balancing the budget every month and making sure that we have sufficient funds to pay for things, for example. It's making sure that we have the right clothing for each season so that we're not freezing to death in the wintertime. Um, Things like that. Keeping dog food on hand for my precious little Bella so that she eats. We need to prepare, we need to think ahead. However, most of the proverbs that I found on planning are all about how important it is to plan, but I did find Proverbs 16:9. It says this: We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. So, we balance these together, this is what we get. If we get obsessive about our planning and we make everything happen just a certain way, then we're totally blown away when something unexpected happens or something that God allows into our lives. We don't have time for the unexpected phone call or the need of a neighbor. So we can plan and we should plan, but we need to plan like this, knowing that God, who is in charge of us, has a right at any time to say, cross that out. I want you to do this instead. You know, today, the strangest thing happened to me with that. I was at my computer and I was typing away, trying to plan for a speech that I'm doing for a talk. And I got this yearning to go sit on my deck and to talk to the Lord there about the speaking. And at first, I didn't want to do it because I already knew what I was going to say. I just needed to type it down. But it was really compelling. So out I went with my Bible, enjoyed the breeze and the trees, and prayed and said, What is it, Lord? And do you know, he showed me two totally different Bible passages than the one I had chosen for the Sela hour that I'm planning. And I'm so excited about them. He really did pull me away from my plan to just get it done to show me his plan. So we plan, we're not lazy. We know that if we don't Make time for what's most important. It won't happen, whether it's visiting parents or getting to know your neighbors or spending time in the morning with the Lord. All those things take planning, but we remember that God orders our steps. And so our plans are tentative. In fact, James says, don't say, at this time next year, I'm going to be in such and such a city. You don't know that. Say, if the Lord wills, I'll be in such and such a city. So maybe that should be a part of our conversation. If the Lord wills, because what that does is remind us that we have plans, but God is our sovereign. He's our king, and he has every right to overrule us and to say, that is not my will for you at this point in time. So let's keep that in balance as we live a prepared life this week. I hope your heart is in the right place from last week, just that essence given over to him. And then from that, from our heart being before him, he can teach us what to do, how to prepare, how to plan, so the things that matter most get done. So, God bless you this week with that. And thank you so much for listening.